okay, you're telling me that there's an infinite being who's infinitely old, has all the omni properties, and would care about a random species that appeared 250,000 years ago. Are you kidding me? Like, I just can't.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't.
my
I
problem
can't
with
get
like.
past that. That's my main problem. Okay, and even if there was a god, I don't feel there's a basis for morality being there, because if you think about it, have you ever? I know some people have this cognitive bias, but I've never actually experienced karma in my life. Like, even when I've been good, I've gotten bad things happen to me, and when I've been doing bad things, good things have happened to me. I don't know karma in the Western karma sense. Like Eastern karma, like, oh, actions have consequences is real, but there's no karma in the universe. There's no favoritism in the universe. The universe is just indifferent. I have
Yeah,
no
it's
reason to
just
believe.
indifferent.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
That's
see why
just like the
God would.
divide between like that's the divide between atheism and theism, right? Like on the other hand, the separate pole like thinks that the universe is indifferent, and on the other hand, the separate pole thinks that if the universe is indifferent, there would not be any meaning. Therefore, they need comfort in this transcendent entity.
True. I think the existence of God is from man because he wants answer to things we don't have. I know it's very cliche, but uh, I just don't see a reason for God to exist. I heard a quote not so long ago. It was, uh, non-existence is not possible because non-existence, if you're referring to it, it means it's existing, but it's supposed to be non-existence. Therefore, existence is the true nature of things. And the other thing is that if
Because
I suppose a better thing to say would be that, okay, you're trying to say that there's an infinite God who created an infinite universe, right? So why not just, if you're okay with an infinite God, why aren't you okay with the infinite universe? Like,
yeah, I'm
infinitely old.
actually interested in hearing Tono's responses. Like, yeah, Tono, you can like talk now, since
Okay.
like you're
Okay.
this whole theistic thing.
Wait a
Okay.
sec.
Yeah, what was going to be your argument in general for God?
Yeah, go on.
My argument would be the argument from efficient cost, of course.
From an efficient cause, so like you want to argue for like the first cause essentially,
Yes.
and this
Okay.
first cause is the first cause in what sense? Like that is metaphysically necessary.
Yes. Yes. Wait a sec. Let me drop my argument first. Premise one: there are efficient causes in the world. That is producing causes.
Wait, can you
Nothing.
send it somewhere? Like maybe in like let me
Type it out.
see.
No,
Scans, send it
bro.
in scans.
That would take a lot of time. Let
Wait,
me just.
you don't have it written down?
What?
You don't have it written down or something?
No, bro. My fingers would hurt. Let me just say it in VC.
This
No,
guy
I
did
was
not
asking if you
say,
had it written down.
he did
Not like
not just say
if
that
you
fingers
want
would
to write
hurt,
it down
bro.
right now.
Okay. Premise one: there are efficient causes in the world. That is producing causes. Nothing can be an efficient cause of itself. For that, it would have to be prior to itself. There cannot be an infinite regress of essentially related efficient causes. There,
Bro, can you like
without a
write some of
without a
can you
first
write some
cause,
of this? Like wait, did you write it somewhere, bro? Like are you reading this from somewhere? Because you have to be right. That's what I'm trying to look at.
I, I mean, I practiced it on a paper. Whatever.
Oh yeah, can you take the picture then? Is that fine?
We are just speaking. Oh, okay, wait. Let me type it down in the scans channel and tag you.
Man, it's gonna take a good while, but you can like summarize it. I'll just like figure out the antonyms. Bro, is this still a discussion or do you wanna make it a debate, like and send it to infinity?
Infinity is not online. Yes, but sure, we can send it to.
So oh, so like it's a debate?
I guess.
Okay, sure. You started the rec, right? So I need to stay. I just need to make my thesis clear.
Okay.
Did you start the rec? While you're writing, I can just like make my thesis clear while I'm defending.
Let me go first. Why
No,
can't I
like
just say?
you're giving an inference, and I'm just trying to like cash out like my thesis and what you're defending against.
Okay, why can't I just say it in VC?
No, the problem with that is that
Oh,
I'm laughing at chat. No, the
you
problem with
can't
that is that your accent makes it so difficult to track, bro. I'm like, I don't want to be like that guy, but
just
yeah.
manage it. Manage it.
But like, I'll state my thesis right now if you type that shit out. Should I? Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, so the thesis I'll be defending is that positing a monotheistic and personal deity with supposed maximal power and knowledge is unnecessary as an explanatory part for the beginning of the cosmos. And now I'm not commenting whether or not this is an this. I think it's perfectly within your rights to deny this, but I think, in fact, it is for the betterment of man to abstain from religious practices and beliefs in the supernatural constitution, because they have been historically demonstrated as a seed for narcissistic tendencies within humans.
So you are trying to
But I'll
say
be
that
substantiating that. I'll
you
be
are trying to say
substantiating
that
that thesis in a possible debate.
you are trying to say that uh, atheism is more parsimonious than theism, right? That's basically what you are trying to say.
I'm agnostic on that, but yeah, I think like generally speaking, like you can explain a lot of causes of the universe through like certain quantum phenomena or principles posited in quantum mechanics, and I can give a lot of examples with regard to that. Unless, for example, you're arguing that God is necessary metaphysically speaking, therefore he should still be presupposed as the efficient cause. Which, if that's the case, then yeah, we can argue over the significance of modal ontology in this case, because you're going to be presupposing that modal talks about ontology, like it's going to be something that's significant enough to take into account when we're talking about like metaphysically necessary beings as a reason to say, yeah, these beings should exist and they should be, the creators of the cosmos or the universe in this case, or everything if you want to like extend like God's power further than the universe. You done writing, bro?
I can't write. Let me just speak it in VC or what? Okay, listen carefully. Premise 1. There are efficient causes in the world, that is, producing causes. Nothing can be an efficient cause of itself, for that it would have to be prior to itself. There cannot be an infinite regress of essentially related efficient causes. Without a first cause, there would be
Essentially,
no
wait, did you say essentially related efficient causes?
Yes,
What do you mean by essentially related efficient causes? Are you
I'd
just saying
give
like they cannot be like two efficient causes?
I'd give you an example of that. Just wait.
Yeah, sure. I thought you were just trying to say like there should be at least one thing with maximal causal efficacy.
Without a first cause, there would be no causality at all. Therefore, a first cause exists, which we call God. Yes. So let me give you an example of that. Suppose a guy is holding a glass of water. So the water is
Mm-hmm.
the water in the glass is dependent on the glass for its causal power, and the glass itself is dependent on the man's hand
A
for its
potency.
causal power. This is called hierarchical causation, right?
You said it's what causation, bro? You lagged out so badly for me. You said it's what causation?
Hierarchical.
Oh, so you just mean causal, a causal relation. Okay, sure.
Yes.
But like, why do you have to take a step further than like
Where a
presuppose
where a
God in this
higher
case? Because
where a lower level entity depends
the
on a higher
universe,
level entity for its causal power. Yes.
no, the reason why I'm asking you this question is because the universe can have like a source that's, or something analogous to a source that's, you know, eternal in some sense, right? At least with respect to classical time, but still not necessarily be God, just be like a structural, like mathematical entity in a mathematical space, for example, like the wave function of the universe or quantum fields and things of that nature, which are modeled within the configuration space. And you don't really need like any form
Do
of
you
classical time to like posit their existence, because they are what constitutes evolution over classical time. So
uh, do you subscribe to Blanken's universe theory, which posits that the universe came out of nothing?
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It is this specifically combats that. Like that's the problem. Like the argument that you're making is like an argument like sounds like of medieval times, right? Unless like you have like some other reason to believe in an even higher cause, despite the universe already having like several theories that account for the beginning of the universe without invoking supernatural means, right?
Yes.
You have like the implicate order of David Bohm, right? And it's something that's topological. It's not something that's supernatural, right? You even have like the other examples that I gave, which are inherently also topological in some sense, structural. They're not just like supernatural and abstract entities, right? But nevertheless, they still exist outside of classical time, and evolution or dynamics of the material world or our fourth dimensional manifolds are constituted by these principles in question, right? And these can be alternative theories within physics that don't invoke any supernatural cause, but still have like a reason to believe that the universe existed on account of something else that is not within the universe but constitutes it, like in general.
Okay. Understandable. Let me finish my argument, please.
I mean, the reason why like I'm like responding to the arguments every time like you present the premise is because again I can't track like your accent, so I have to make sure that I listen immediately then respond. But sure.
Like I said,
That was a pretty much relevant question though, when I was asking you like why would you need to go the extra step and posit God specifically, right? When you have
what
all
do
of
we call
these
God?
like
A thing with
timeless
maximal causal
causes.
power, right?
Oh, so the being has maximal causal power. Like, do we know
Yes.
what we mean by maximal causal power though? Because there are different accounts for maximal power, right? Because like a Neoplatonists would disagree on what constitutes as maximal power, because they think that something like a god having like entityhood is something that delimits the ontology or perfection of God. Then argue that the first principle, or what is equated to God, is something that's
The first
transcendental
cause of the
even
universe.
to the act of intellection. So like what does it mean by like maximal power? Like what do we mean by maximal power in this case?
The first efficient cause.
Yeah, but like I understand that, but there are different accounts for that as well. So it's still not it doesn't provide any explanatory power, because even like within naturalistic means, you can say the first efficient cause is the universal wave function. The first efficient cause is quantum fields. The first efficient cause is like the implicate order, and reality unfolds from this infinite dimensional or multidimensional principle.
Yes. Can I complete my argument, please?
These questions are pretty relevant to your argument. I'm not really sure like what's completing it can I help with.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
like the example I gave previously, the water is dependent on the glass for its causal power. The glass is dependent on the man's hand for its causal power. The man is standing on the ground, like this chain goes and on, and therefore there can be an infinite regress of efficient causes. Now these things,
Yeah, but there
there
won't the problem is there won't be like an infinite regress even within naturalistic means. That's what I was trying to explain to you. Unless you mean something different by an infinite regress, right? Unless you mean like there cannot be an infinite regress of beings that are composite, right? Which you'd be forced to argue for divine simplicity or some type of unity, right? Or it can be
I
the
don't
case that
defend.
there cannot be
I don't
like
defend even simplicity.
an infinite regress temporally speaking, which is already addressed by naturalistic means, right? Which I gave an example of those naturalistic.
Okay. So you're defending for naturalism.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like you can have like all of that with naturalism without having to invoke any supernatural entity.
Argument, the evolutionary argument against naturalism.
No, but you can cash it out if it's really relevant to like the arguments that I've been giving.
It it posits that evolution. It posits that naturalism is self self defeating. We can't have
Wait, how so?
naturalism can't explain the the reliable
Life
cognitive
from
faculties.
non-life?
Let's
Wait,
assume that
reliable what?
humans
Sorry.
have, huh? Yes. What the heck?
You said like reliable what?
Reliable cognitive faculties.
Wait, how so? How does that follow? Oh, like I remember this. Like God, bro, who's that? Yeah, godless girl. She was arguing for this against Demi. Like it's something like you would have no epistemology without God, isn't it? Is it something of
We
that
can't
nature?
have
And you said like reliable
sentient beings
cognitive
without God.
abilities.
It's
You
basically
said what?
something like that. Sentient beings who can think rationally.
You cannot think rationally without God. What's going to be the argument for that, though?
Suppose humans have evolved according to the current evolutionary theory, which selects for survival behavior,
You said what?
in survival behavior, surviving in harsh environments, etc., etc. Not for the truth of beliefs.
Bro, is he? Wait, hold on, bro.
Yes.
So he's basically saying what he's trying to basically say is that you human beings and
Bro,
all
wait,
animals
why?
can.
He was lagging for me so badly, bro.
Yeah, he was basically saying that human beings have evolved their cognitive faculties for basic survival and not to understand metaphysical truths such as naturalism. Because, for example, the nature has no way of selecting for metaphysical accuracy. Like, oh, this human understands epistemology better than this other Homo, right? So Homo erectus understands it better than the Homo sapien. Therefore, Homo erectus will survive. There's no way for nature to select for that. Therefore, we never evolved to understand metaphysical truths like naturalism. I think that's what he's trying to
Oh,
say.
okay, that's fine. Oh, if that's what, are you trying to argue that, Tono, real quick?
Yes.
Okay, so like, I don't see how like you'd need God even for that. So because like
The
I'm not
chances of
like
getting reliable cognitive faculties would
some
be
evolutionary
really
fundamentalist,
slim
right?
to none
I think what's
without
more
God,
fundamental in this case is just like
without a
the
designer.
principles that I've listed out, which is like the wave function and the quantum fields or the implicate order. So like this would not work as an argument because like those principles can just constitute like whatever like you're taking issue with.
Are you
Like
familiar with
what
the
would be so irrational about all of those things arising from something like the implicate order or something like a quantum field or something
He can't
like
argue.
the wave
He cannot
function?
argue that it's irrational. He can only argue that it's unlikely. But like even him saying it's unlikely, I mean, it won't really disprove naturalism. It will. Then we just have a debate about which priors. You can debate that theism has much lower priors, so the payoff made by saying, "Oh yeah, well, I'm just going to believe theism because it makes this case where we can reason about metaphysics more likely if theism's priors are so much lower than naturalism priors, then the argument won't really work. But
Yeah, I understand that. So, what's going to be your response, Tono?
Are you familiar with the psychophysical harmony argument?
Yeah, but again,
Bro,
the
are you just gonna
psychophysical
like
harmony.
fucking?
But those are.
Are you gonna like
those are
fucking
all the
like just
same
like list out
category,
like all the arguments that you heard and just like regurgitate them here?
literally. But even
Wait, no,
Kim
it reminds
himself
me
is
of
saying, "Oh yeah, well,
Yeah, it's
psychophysical argument."
What
dude,
is
It's
like that
literally
one
in the
paper.
same category. It's literally in the same category as
are
all of the
you
probabilistic
familiar with
arguments, which I don't think they work
like?
just because of the
Are you
reason
familiar
that
with
the
Plotinus's superabundance as an account for all things
Now,
existing type shit?
do you know what you know what D just sounded like? He sounded like Dio from JoJo saying "muda muda 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 muda,"
what the
like for all the arguments.
yeah,
I mean the
literally,
same shit.
literally that. Like,
Yo, what's good, Infinity?
like it's useless because if you're going to argue probabilistically, you already have to show how the prior probability for theism is high enough for us to even consider it. For example,
Yeah,
I would be an atheist
just
just because I think that the prior probability for it is zero. I mean, I
yeah.
understand the
Oh no, he's
argument.
basically saying that no matter what argument you use, it's gonna come down to probability, and all of these arguments are just gonna end up to that. So you can't just jump from one argument to another, because it's just gonna be the same thing again and again and again. So you
Yeah,
have
exactly.
to.
Like no matter how many
Yeah.
arguments you make for this, they like it won't really change the fact that you're still using the same kind of logic to prove God. And I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I think it's bad if you want to prove like the classical theistic God. For example, I think this is a very good argument for some kind of deism, but not for classical theism. No.
I see.
See, I think like you have a better chance at arguing deism, like rather than classical theism too.
Fact,
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah. By the way, Toxic, what are you? What are your beliefs?
I've honestly been like really neutral on ontology lately. But like I used to be like a hard deist, but right now I'm not
Deist?
sure if I want to be an idealist or just purely structuralist.
Can we
Oh wait. Like would you say that you're a